Well, my camera's staying nice and clear that I blew all the crap out of the lens. Maybe just need to see some welding. So I'm starting to play with front end ideas, and this is the front end that a friend of mine gave me at one of the car shows over the summertime. Very nice high-end kind of unit, but I don't think it's right for this kind of bike. It's got a name on it. Bugsy. And it's got the axle and the center link and all that in there. But I was kind of looking at it. I just wanted to see if it was going to be wide enough to do what I wanted to do and put this front wheel on it. And this front wheel is 5 inches from that hub to that hub, but the tire is not in the center. The tire offsets to one side, kind of like a rear tire does with a sprocket. You know, it's kicked off to one side. So as long as the tire is in the center of the front of the fork, it doesn't matter if there's some more stuff sticking out on one side than the other, other than, you know, some weight hanging. So I'm probably, just for symmetry, I'm probably going to make it so that that offset is also on the same side. Not sure of that yet, but anyway, so I'm trying to come up with ideas of what I want to do for my front suspension. I'd like to do it's probably about where the tire will be too. I'd like to make like the leaf spring kind of monoleaf over the top of the tire and all that kind of funky stuff. So I'm kind of thinking along that way, but I also like it when they do a little bit of a curve to it too. And the way they do that is they have a set of, you know, the forks kind of come down to a bend. The tire's not mounted to that, but a swivel is mounted to that, and they swivel it backwards, and the tire, there'd be 3 holes. The axle will be in the middle of the 3 holes. The front one's connected to the fork, the middle one is the rim, and the back one, I believe, is the counter of the leaf spring goes up and then goes back down to that. So as that wants to go push up, it goes up through a rod and pushes up on the leaf spring in the front. If that made any sense to you guys or not. I should probably draw it on the you can help myself too. Sometimes little sketches on the bench help. So let me do a little doodling. Okay, don't make fun of my drawings. I know. So this is kind of what the idea is. Let's see if the light doesn't get it. So this is the fork coming down. It passes the center of the front wheel, and then you got a pivot, we're going to call it, with 3 holes on it, and all these got bushings in them. So you got one there, and one there. This is the axle of the wheel. This is a rod on each side that goes back up to that leaf spring in the front. So as you go over bumps, you know, it pushes up on that, transfers to there. They also have another thing too, where they kind of come down with a I'm trying to think of the name of, I don't know what any of that stuff's called. Anyhow, there's like another support bar that comes down over the cross of the front of it right here, and it keeps this. It kind of helps the whole structure of the fork have some support by picking up here and here, kind of, instead of it all just being on the fork. It transfers some of that energy because this isn't moving. That part's not moving, you know. Back across the front end to help support it. So there'll be one more line that's not drawn in there. And the other way is too, is you just come right down with it, and they run it the other way around, where everything sticks out of the front of the fork, and then the thing just goes straight up to the spring also. But I have a feeling if I do that, I'll end up being too far forward from the frame. I want it raked, but I don't want it raked that much, and then the handling would kind of suck. I think doing with this, I could probably come into the window where I want to be. So that's what I'm going to go work on. So let me see what I come up with. The cold in the air actually kind of looks like one of those gonna be snowy days, but it's not. It's still too warm, but it's coming. So I dug the snow cab out that I got for free, and had a lot of mold growing on it. I just sprayed it all down with bleach, and already about 80 or 90% of it's gone. But figure if the rains are coming, I'll leave this out in the rain and we'll let it defunctify itself. Oh, that was basically like that, but darker. Like that, where it didn't spray. There we go. Yeah, like that. So that'll be coming up soon. I gotta get that together. But that's not what this is about. That's just ADD. Back in the bike front end. This is that front end that someone at a show gave me, who had built a couple of bikes and he had it sitting around, and he donated it to my cause when I saw him at a show. I was kind of psyched to go get it. First I was thinking it's a little kind of too high tech for this bike, but I just kind of stuck it up there, stuck a rod through it, and kind of wanted to get an idea what it looked like and all. And I'm thinking maybe I can actually kind of use this maybe for my base to start with. The tubing is 1 1/4 inch diameter aluminum, and the issue I was first kind of dealing with is I got to spread the front end out to make room. As you can see, it's, you know, the tire's 5 inches wide and there's 4 inches between the spread, so got to gain an inch somewhere. And also the tire is offset from the rim. If you look at, you know, where that hub is and where the tread is, and then you look where that hub is and where the tread is, the whole tire itself is kind of offset to one side, so one leg of it's going to have to be kicked out to accommodate for that room. But I just need to get so the tread is over the center point. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about doing that yet, but what I decided to do is, what I'll do is I'll try and put the triple tree together minus one leg, that leg on the right hand side, and then I will see if I can kind of bolt up the axle and bolt up a bunch of pieces and see how close I come to being in the center of the bike. And then what I'll do is I'll try bending that tube to see if I can kick it out to make the room that I need. And then you can kind of cut them to length. You can kind of change them up and take the ends off, change the ends to a different position, or, you know, vice versa on the top. Tap the top caps out of it and change the length of them as needed. So I think that's going to go do. I'm going to try. I got it. Also came with. Here's the axle, I believe, for it. Actually, both of them are the same thing, but the one's going to be an axle and one's going to be the neck, and just basically choose different sets of screws and then 2 different sets of bearings. One's got just a little bit better. These are probably going to be with the wheel bearings. Actually, these are kind of like what I was trying to make when I was making the rim. It's got the center clip on it. They might even be what I need right there. I have a feeling there might be a little small. Who knows? We'll go worry about that a little bit later. But anyway, so I want to get one of these set up in the top up there and see how that makes out, and then we're going to kind of go from there and see if we can use this or not. So I'm babbling. Let me get to wrenching. So close, but yet so far. So I took that apart and I went to go drop that bearing in there, and that bearing is off by not much. I'm going to say it's probably 40 thou, something like that. And it's somewhat, where's the other bearing? It is somewhat longer, but I could have kind of cut it to length, and if I had to, tap into that shaft a little bit more. But I'm kind of thinking I could either make a collar like I did on the VW trike and make my own like race that stands a little proud from the top and the bottom and weld it to this, or I could actually take this, take the badge off, slice it maybe right down the center of it, open it up enough to where I need it, and you know, actually weld a piece of pipe right over the whole face of it. So I want to see how far that axle sinks into those recesses and kind of get a better dimension of where it's going to line up. If I got room to do that with the top and the bottom, maybe I'll do that. And if I don't, that's what I say, I'll take the label off, I'll slice it right down the face, and we'll take another piece of pipe and we'll go right over it, and that might even make that whole structure stronger too. Hey, wide and long face. Anyway, so I ended up slicing out the center of that and opening it up like I said, so I was able to get the bearings in it. And then I can cut that shaft to whatever dimension I want to, with spacing between the top and the bottom. That should be just fine. But I kind of want to get an idea about how the tire was going to line up to it using one side, like I said. And if you look at it, it's 2 inches to the center pivot point. And by bolting one side of the wheel up, it is approximately 2 inches to the center of the wheel. So that actually works out pretty good. Except for the fact now I got to go get and have another leg come out, come down. Then it's got to kick way out to one side. So how is aluminum gonna respond to that? I don't know, but I figure we're gonna go find out. So I got to take, you know, plus we got to knock about 18 inches out of that. But I figure I can tap these guys out of there. They don't have set screws in them, so they should not be in there all that tough, but I'm not sure yet, the top and the bottom. And if that's the case, then I can kind of rotate them however I need and cut them to the length I need. But I want to see if I can kind of bend that guy. I want to get it right about there. And of course, if you go in a straight line, that's where it lines up to. So that needs to be kicked over. We're just kind of eyeballing it right now, but I'm going to say probably about an inch. So if I can get that guy to walk over an inch and get into there and grab the other side of the wheel, I think we'll be fine. I first started thinking about making triple trees with an offset on one side, but I think that might look goofy. Well, more goofy than having one leg kind of kicked off. But we'll see. So I'm going to see about trying to get those caps out of this thing and see if we can get this beast to bend. One way to get that end off, so I can punch it out once I get the end off. Alright, good thing I didn't trash that. I stuck that in the bender and kept kind of tweaking it back and forth. Probably went back and forth about 4 or 5 times between the 2 points, and then used the straight edge to kind of figure out where it was. And I set it up, actually I got a little bit more. I did about 1.25 inches, 1.125 inches, something like that. I say 1.125 inches. Just give me a little bit of fudge factor. Worst case scenario, I can put a washer in there. I'd rather have a little too wide and a little too skinny. So, let's see what we got. And again, I'm just trying to kind of kick around that lower drum. Yeah, that guy right there, but then be able to go in a straight line. That actually would be kind of it right there, wouldn't it? Looks like it's got a broken leg. I think that visual of that kind of gets you. So I think the only problem is I'm afraid of how I got to get that front end up in there pretty far. So I have a feeling that I kind of screwed up. I should have made that bend and this bend much more pronounced and closer. I think well, I don't know. I gotta get rid of all the space, you know what I mean? This tire has to be up here, so that bend will be up inside that triple tree, maybe. Alright, I gotta sit there with a tape measure and some thinking to go figure that one out. And before I tap that cap, or that end back in, so I gotta get this one out. They're in there pretty good. I stood the thing up on a pipe and kind of drove down on it. It worked its way out of there, but it wasn't going to come out easy. So that one's going to put up a bit of a fight through. So they were pressed in there. Not no more. So I got the end cut out of there. I took it and I just took a hacksaw and I kind of curled around it, and I took a chisel and kind of opened it up like a pack of biscuits where you cook them, you know. So now we're going to see about trying to get that sucker back on there. And it's going to need some persuasion. So I got that kind of a rag trying to protect the finish, and I'm going to go hit it with some persuasion. See if this is a big enough set of persuasion. I don't care about mushrooming the top of the pipe yet, because I still have to cut that down to size. But we're gonna try it like this. Kind of high, I can't get a good hit on it. Is it moving? Can't tell. You guys telling me if it's moving? I think it moved a little. Why don't we do that? Tell us. I'm worried about smashing my light with a hammer. No. Yes. When you guys want to hold this while I'm swinging? I need higher. I need to get higher. How high are you? Yeah, that high. My hands are vibrating. We got a 3/8 of an inch. Well, you get the idea. I'm gonna go beat on that. All right, it's back to contemplating time. I got that one front tube cut down to length, and everything's just kind of like stuck in place. Before I start kind of finish fitting everything, I want to make sure that's where I want it. I want to cut it any shorter. The top cap is still out of it, so I can still change the length if I have to. I have like a 1/2 inch of play here to do something with. This is pretty much bottoming out into here, but this kind of has to be shortened up. I could run this in a little further, but I'm starting to get into the bend of it. But it still has to, that still has to go on the top of it, so that's going to take up that gap. So I figure I'm close enough there. I'm over the center of the tire. The tire's lining right up with the center of the frame. If you get the other one, just running straight up, you know, before I cut and commit axle sizes and everything. So the other thing I'm thinking of is springer, like a spring front end. And I didn't know if I want to, you do it either way. You can kind of go off the back side and then have the bar come up to the front spring, or you could have the fork where it is, the tire stick out a little further, and with a rocker, and then the bar going kind of straight up to the spring, and you pick off where you want on the spring for how much tension you get. So I kind of like that idea, but the only thing I'm got going on in the back of my mind is this is gonna be a brake with like a leather strap around it, and I'm thinking I have a pair here somewhere, a pair of pliers, a pair of we'll go with this. So somewhere on the bike I want to incorporate like a type of plier of some sort that's gonna, you pull on a cable or a lever, it squeezes that, which will tighten up. Each jaw will be connected to a leather belt, or even, you know, even one really. The other one could be fixed to the fork. And you pull it, and it turns, you know, it turns the brake on. We'll put tension on that front drum as like a band brake. So I'm thinking of that moving with suspension, and you know, how's that going to follow? How can you tie it? What are you going to tie it to? Because now it doesn't move the same rate as anything else. The axle's on its own thing, you know, and the fork's sitting still, and the shock absorber mount that goes up is twice as fast because you're in the middle of it. Make sense? So that one's looking at it, thinking that top tube right there, see the gap I have? Well, I can kind of split that front or bottom if I want to utilize that. So I'm thinking, like, what about the Springer fork? But instead of the Springer coming off of the bottom spring, coming off that top gap, and there's also 4 bolt holes where the risers attach to handlebars. I can kind of use that, like, utilize that as a clamp. So think, see this area here? So if I put a leaf spring, I drill a hole in the leaf spring, let the leaf spring kind of go over this gap right here, and then either make a clamp, if I'm able to get a clamp, go over the whole thing, like a rear leaf spring with the bolts on each side. Or if I have to, I can drill it. Where's the spring? This is not the one I'm looking for. It's under there. But yeah, we can use this for example. Pretend it's got an end on it. So if I do something like that, and have that out there, I think it's heavy as hell. I like the tire flop. Gotta think about that. But is it any lighter being down there? Not really. Hang another half of a leaf spring off the backside to counterweight it. So that's what I'm thinking. I can make it a lot shorter probably. Who says I have to make the thing stick way to hell out there, right? What if I do like something like that, just a single spring, right? Then there's only that much weight out there. And if I come off of with a rocker, the tires further forward, it gives you that J. It kind of makes the front end kind of want to steer itself a little bit better. Rake, yeah, that's it. Caster. So if I come out here with a pivot and that goes up, and then the studs in the center, they come off to run it back to the spring. Get it? I think I'm talking to myself more than you. So I think I shut the camera off when I'm doing a lot of gabbing, but that's what I'm kind of thinking. And what's the worst case scenario is this is good, I could leave it alone as long as I leave, I know I'm talking again, as long as I cut this and the 2 butt ends there are the exact same length and squareness to each other, I could always just put the tire right back there, worst case, right? And if not, I'll have a spring on the front. So that's what I'm gonna go figure out how to go do right now, actually. Ooh, no, wrong one. Wonder if that hole, wouldn't that be good? Where'd it go? Nah, that's gonna be too far away. See if I could use that hole. Because I don't know how this stuff's gonna be for taking a drill. We're gonna find out. All right, cutting you off.